Just finished about 56 minutes of sharing about your life, and so we thought we'd do a little freestyle interviewing at this point. So you're on the spot a little bit.
Let's go.
And I'm sure there's a lot of questions we could ask, but one of the things I was wondering about is I know that after you had the kids, me, Tom, and Mark, you had to drop out of college, and I know you went back to college, and I remember that as a teenager and all that, but maybe you can explain, you know, what you decided to pursue from your education, where you graduated, and just how all that went down.
Oh, okay. Yes, when I met Grandpa Trigg, I was a sophomore in college, and then we got married, and I had AT, and I finished the semester of school that year, and Nana, my mom, watched AT during the day as I went to school. And then I dropped out of school as a sophomore after I finished my sophomore year to raise AT, and by that time I think I was probably pregnant with Tom. So I thereafter was mostly a stay-at-home mom, and that was, you know, I was so fortunate that I had the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom. As the children got older, as AT and Tom and Mark got older, I did go through a divorce with Grandpa Trigg, and I found that supporting myself was really, really difficult, supporting myself and my children. At the time, I started working 2 jobs, and but they were only minimum wage because I didn't have a degree. And so I decided that to be better able to support myself and my children, especially my children, I needed to go back to school. So I went back to school full-time, continued to work, and at the time, there was one point in time when AT, Tom, and Mark and I were all in college at the same time. I wanted, again, to get my degree in teaching at the time, and I did graduate in 1989 from Western Illinois University with a teaching certificate. At that time, I was working part-time teaching dance classes at the Lincoln Center. And after I got my degree, I was offered a job as a coordinator at the Lincoln Center. I took that job, and shortly thereafter, the director of the Lincoln Center quit, and I became the interim director. I stayed with the Lincoln Center for a number of years, and it was part of the city of Bettendorf. And about 12 years ago, they built a brand new building. We changed our name to the Family Museum, and I worked for that organization for 18 years. It was the best job you could ever have in your life. I felt like I was making a difference in a lot of ways. I particularly liked a program called Street Heat, working with young people. And I just felt it was a very, very rewarding job. As Stephen put in his book that he wrote about me, I have the best work life and social life.
Okay, maybe you could, you know, talk a little bit. What are some of the jobs that, I mean, man, I remember you having so many different types of jobs. What are some of the best jobs and worst jobs that you had that led up to the Lincoln Center job, obviously, that you had for so many years?
Oh my goodness, I worked so many jobs. When AT, Tom, and Mark were little, I took a job in a cheese factory. Now, these are the type of jobs that will drive you to get a college education, and actually encouraged me very much to get a college education. So everyone should try a job like this. I worked in the cheese factory, and for 8 hours a day, starting at 6 in the morning, I would do various jobs. One of the jobs was to put little squares of cheese in a row. And I did that for 8 hours. Of course, we were not allowed to talk because that might stop us from working or listen to music. Another great job there in the cheese factory, they moved me to another job, and they used to put cheese in little tiny barrels, and my job was to make sure that the barrels were upright so the cheese could go into them. I was kind of short.
All right, let's take a break for a second.
Okay.